Good morning, all. We can see that many people already joined.
Yes,
Hello.
good morning, everybody. I can see many of them are sending the text. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Start very soon.
Good day.
I can see Mr. Ghaziyur Rahman, good morning. Sultan Habibullah, good morning.
Good morning and good afternoon. That's the good one. Yes, that's correct.
Yes, yes. I can see people from different time zones. That's why probably it's good afternoon for us here.
Good to see you all too.
We'll start in 402.
402.
I can see 𝗚𝗵𝗶𝗲𝗳 Rahman Farhad.
I cannot
Good
see
morning
all.
to you.
Can you see all of us?
I can see Mr. Sultan Habibullah hearing from Dubai.
Yeah.
It's quite very early morning in Dubai.
Yeah. All right. Hi, everyone. As we can see, everyone is from different places and different time zones. So good morning, good afternoon, whatever time is in your place. I'm Sally Jahan, the BDM of Bridging West. Welcome you all to our webinar. And thank you very much for taking your time to join us today. As you know, today our webinar is going to be on business opportunities and migration to Australia. That's our topic today. So before we go into more details of our main webinar, I would like to introduce you with our guest. So here is our special guest speaker, Mr. Bill Tehan, who is the director of, that's Bill, giving you a hi. And Mr. Bill Tehan is the director of 𝗬𝗲𝗀𝗁 Group in Australia, and he is an honorary Justice of Peace in Victoria. And also he's the former mayor of Hobsons Bay City Council in Melbourne. And Mr. Bill will talk about the business opportunities aspect for business migrants. And from our special guest, Mr. Bill's, his past experience on dealing with Australian parliamentary boards and as a mayor and many business chambers in Australia, we want to listen from him the current opportunities in Australia got to offer to you as a business owner to come and settle your family in here. So that would be for Mr. Bill. And then we are going to listen from our chief guest speaker. And our chief guest speaker is going to be Mr. Zahangir Alom, who is the founder and the principal of Bridging West since 2005. And you can see Mr. Zahangir there. And he is also the managing director of 𝗬𝗵𝗶𝗲𝗳 Land Development. And Mr. Zahangir is going to talk about the migration aspect of today's topic, and especially like how business owners around the world, as you all are from different part of the world at the moment, and how you all can migrate to Australia with your family and can settle here. So now, little bit about our chief guest, Mr. Zahangir, who advised more than 25,000 individuals and families over the last 16 years. And Mr. Zahangir is the person who helped Bangladeshis in Australia, Sydney to Perth, Adelaide to Darwin. He is known to each and every Bangladeshi community in Australia last 20 years. He's a business migration specialist here. And today we'll know from him how a business owner can migrate to Australia with full family till getting Australian citizenship to passport. And not only that, he's also going to talk about how you can do the fast track processing. And most importantly, the support service he and the Bridging West got to offer you when you come to Australia. Now, of course, after these two presentations, we'll have question and answer session. So please feel free to ask any questions, any queries that you have in our chat box, as you can already typing in there. And during the session, please, I know you will have many questions during the session, just write it down and you ask at the end. And we'll try our best to answer all of your questions if time permit. But if we cannot, please leave your details. Our team will be in touch with you after the webinar. All right. Now, before we start, bit of housekeeping rules. So please keep your mobile in silent mode so we all can focus. And you ask the question at the end, as just mentioned. And don't worry to write anything of the information we are going to give you today. So really don't waste your time on that. Just focus what the information we are giving you. We can email you this slide, so you don't need to write anything. And of course, the chat box is all the time for you to ask anything. All right, so now the question, can you please type your name? Some of you already typed your name and the country you are in. And we can see there are people from Dubai, from China, from Bangladesh, and many of you already asked, and oh, from UK as well. Yeah, great. There's quite a different places in the world at the moment. So who didn't type it? If you don't mind, please type your name and the country you are sitting right now. Oh, Saudi Arabia, Sadia, Bangladesh. Oh, good. All right, so we got quite a nice mix here. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Bangladesh, mostly from Bangladesh. Yeah. Thank you. So we're moving on. Now, we're going to talk about just a little bit of Australia. Of course, you all know Australia, and you all know that it's a huge country. And we have 6 states and 2 internal territories. Now, Canberra is the capital of the country and also the main city for Australian Capital Territory, and our parliament and all government official or headquarters in Canberra. Sydney is the biggest city and is the capital for New South Wales. And then our another state is Victoria, which is the capital is the Melbourne, and Melbourne is the world's most livable city and the education state. I'm sure you all know that. And just for your information, it's not only Melbourne the most livable city. There are a few other cities in Australia is in the top 10 list. So you can see that few cities from Australia is in the top 10 list. Now, next state is South Australia, and the capital is the Adelaide, which is we call it festival state or the green city, and that's the state is famous for wine and oil. And the next one is Brisbane, and the state called Queensland, and we call it Sunshine State or Sunny State. And if you are fond of tourism, then definitely you know Great Barrier Reef, which is in Queensland State. Then our next state is Western Australia. Perth is the main city and very world famous for mine and minerals. And then our island state, which is Tasmania, is very beautiful and famous for its flora and fauna, and Hobart is the capital. But Tasmania is in the World's Heritage listing, and they are the gateway to Antarctica. And the last one, the Darwin, which is in our Northern Territory, the greatest outback, and famous for Uluru, Kakadu, and Litchfield National Park. So, question to you, I'm sure many of you already visited Australia. So, just to get a rough idea, like if you visited Australia already, please type yes. If you're not, just type no. Wow. Yes, no. Yes. Oh, keep coming. All right. It's kind of like 50-50 so far I can see. Quite a few number of yes and no as well. Good. Who are writing yes? I hope you liked Australia when you came here. All right. Now, we are going to hear from our special guest speaker, Mr. Bill Tehan. So I would like to welcome Mr. Bill Tehan for his speech. And so without further ado, Mr. Bill, over to you.
Thank you very much, Selma. Wonderful introduction. And yes, welcome to you all. It's great to be with you today, and a big welcome to you all who have joined us on this webinar. So it's good morning or good afternoon, particularly where you come from, I suppose. So today I'm going to talk to you about business opportunities in Australia. I'm also going to go through some very key statistics and other information that will assist you in your thought process and your decision making. But first, allow me to ask you a question. What do you know about business opportunities in Australia? I know we're a long way away, but what do you know in particular about business opportunities? If you can take the time to write in the chat box, just give me a quick answer in the chat box, and we'll see what comes through, Selma. Okay, so quite a few starting to write, give me some feedback. That's good. The reason I ask is simply to know, I want you to know the beauty and vastness of Australia. If you've been here or you've had business opportunities or you know of business opportunities in Australia, you'll have some sort of understanding about Australia. So let's begin by talking a little bit about the COVID-19 pandemic that has rocked the world. Sadly, we have witnessed over 40 million infections worldwide, resulting in over 1 million deaths. Very sad indeed. No doubt all countries have suffered the physical and mental trauma as well as a big drain on our economies. Australia is no exception. But looking at the chart, you can see Australia has to this week endured 907 deaths. Very small in comparison to the US, if you like, USA, with 230,000 deaths, and the UK around 46,000 deaths. Australia is frantically working with 2 vaccines at the moment, one at the University of Queensland and Melbourne's Monash University. So those vaccines are getting closer and closer, and they're currently undergoing testing as we speak. So let's move on to something more positive, shall we? Let's take a look at Australia's trade. Looking at the chart, Australia's population is 1/6 the size of Bangladesh, for example, yet our land size is 52 times bigger than Bangladesh. Importantly, our GDP was 10 times that of Bangladesh in 2018, or 41 times per capita with our exports of $283 billion. Prior to the pandemic, of course, China was Australia's largest two-way trade partner, goods and services, which accounted for 27.4% of our world trade. Figures are only available to 2018, but they do show our imports would be at $87 billion and our exports at $21 billion. Of course, Australia needs to boost its trade market. We have. Over the course of the pandemic this year, trade with China dropped off, not unexpected, mainly because the closures of our retail markets, secondly China's issues with manufacturing, logistics closures. Importantly, Australia's political fragility is not at the greatest point with China, let's be honest, and as such poses a risk for future needs, future trade. Interesting to note that the Australian government has openly confirmed their intention to actually increase trade with Bangladesh, and this is good news for the future. Of course, we've always had a strong relationship, strong agreements with trade with Bangladesh. Imports to Australia, the value of $958 million. Look at the value, if you like, of exports, $1.3 billion. So, a pretty good trade relationship all around with Bangladesh. I've got another question, if you don't mind, another question for you. Do you know of anyone doing business in Australia? Simply type yes or no. Business people are all around the world, as we know, but do you personally know of anybody doing business here? It might be you yourself, or a colleague, or a family member. So let's have a look. It's starting to come through, yes. Great result. A lot of you do know people doing business here. That's wonderful. Great answer. It's important because you may have some knowledge of what we're actually discussing today. So we'll move on to key business sectors. There is many areas including agriculture, farming, building and land developments, and of course, imports and exports. Another quick question. Does anyone know where the world's biggest cattle or beef farm is situated? Yes or no? That's all I'm asking for. The world's biggest beef cattle farm. Okay, they're coming through. No. Not unexpected. I guess not many of you knew that, but guess what? It's located right here in Australia. And the farm is called Anna Station, and it's situated just outside of Adelaide. The size is 2.4 million hectares, and it holds 10,000 beef cows. So in all, we've got plenty of land. It's as simple as that. There's literally millions of acres here in Australia available for you to start your hobby farm here. There is no size capitalisation here. You can do whatever you like. It's a big country. But like most countries, Australia has all types of farms, including poultry, cattle, dairy. And the average dairy farm or cattle farm is usually around 300 acres here, 121 acres. You move on to poultry farming here. It's huge in Australia. And I'll give you two main reasons why it's very, very big here. Firstly, we have plenty of land and excellent growing conditions, good quality feeds that are grown here. Yes, we also export animal feeds around the world. But secondly, Australians love chicken. And that's why Kentucky Fried Chicken franchises in Australia are actually booming. So a wonderful opportunity. Land developments are exceeding all expectations in Australia because of its growing population and rising immigration. For those unfamiliar with Australia, all of our major cities are coastal. Melbourne in particular is experiencing expansion in all corridors. Unprecedented rates of growth. It really is. The land development is in big demand, and we can certainly assist you from start to finish. That's your building and construction is another one. Never stops. In 2019, 173,285 new homes were constructed at a value of $1 billion. The industry is huge. Populates over 1,171,000 workers daily. With the various government grants, as well as finance availability, low interest rates, home ownership in Australia is actually an expectation and not a dream. Innovation, science and technology. Every business we do has an element of innovation, science and technology. Australia is a world leader in many fields, including medical, bio-product breakthrough, the development through composite research, including carbon fibers, titanium for manufacturing, and of course the medical field, electronic, photonic materials, batteries, and energy storage. So let's talk a little bit more about other things such as health, medical, and well-being. Like most countries, Australia has an aged population that is extremely high. In 2017, more than 57%, or 2.2 million older people here in Australia were aged 65 to 75 years. As such, aged care facilities and services are always in big demand. Any business related to aged care, believe me, makes good money. Demand for retirement village developments, big business here. And I see this as a stepping stone to nursing homes or aged care facilities sometime thereafter. Aged care facilities in Australia do receive government grants. Another question, guys, another question for the audience. How often do you go to the doctor or dentist? Often or not much is the answer we're looking for. So how often do you think you go? Let me have a see. Okay, so we're getting mixed responses here. Yeah, very mixed responses. I suppose it depends a lot on your age. I guess your probably affordability. We've got some answers once a year, twice a year, 4 times a year. We can talk forever about the medical needs of our age population. But guess what? In Australia, doctors are free. You don't pay. Part of the system. So looking at medical and dental, for example, as a business opportunities overall, it's an ocean, full tide of making money. You don't even have to be a doctor or a dentist to operate a clinic. You can own it, manage it, employ doctors and other professionals. There's big profits in these professions. Get a tooth extraction. Can't get your tooth pulled out at the dentist here. Takes about 5 minutes. It costs you $250. So it's not hard to see why dentists are very wealthy here. Are you a chemist or pharmacist? If you are, then the same applies as doctors and dentists. The US term drugstores in Australia are simply called chemist or pharmacist and are owned by corporations or single business entities. Like the doctors, there's always a need for pharmacies across this huge country. You don't have to be a chemist to own and operate a pharmacy, but you have to partner with chemists, and they like actually do that. The need for energy is fast becoming a priority as the world moves away from their in-ground natural resources, such as coal, natural gas. Renewable energy targets become a political topic around the world, I guess, as well as here in recent years in Australia. We've just met our 2020 target of 23.5%. Solar and wind farms in Australia are a massive industry and open to further investment. There's simply not enough of this technology out there that the demand is. And the great thing about solar power generation is the buyback scheme, whereby whatever electricity you produce above and beyond the holding capacity of your battery system, that excess is diverted to the main electricity grid, and you get paid per kilowatt produced for doing so. How good is that? Wonderful system. The other important aspect of renewable energy as a business is there are government grants available that allows homeowners to pay almost nothing. So this business is high in demand. Let's move on to Australia's major imports. So the first question I've got on about this is, do you or anyone you know involved with importing or exporting with Australia? If you can just let me know a yes or no. I mean, importing and export's big, so you may know somebody who's doing business with us, one way or the other. Okay, so yes, there's a lot of yeses there, a few no's. That's wonderful, because it is a big thing. Importing and exporting is a big thing around the world. Our major trade imports are many with mechanical machinery, computers, IT equipment reaching $32 billion US. And this is followed by our natural resources, such as coal, gas, crude oil coming in at around $30 billion US. Australia no longer manufactures cars for GMH, Ford or Toyota anymore. You may have heard that in recent years. So we expect the latest figure of $30 billion US for imported cars to increase drastically over the coming years. So demand is really high. People here like new cars. Retail imports are a gem for the business people who own and operate retail stores. They include clothing stores such as Cotton On, India, Best and Less, Jeans West, Kmart, Big W, Woolworths, Myers, etc. Some products include jute bags, leather goods, footwear, and even pharmaceuticals. Food is another massive imported product. Seafood, right through to crop products. You name it, you can add it to the list. And having just mentioned renewable energy, solar panels, inverters, batteries are high on the list of imports due to demand. And not a lot of manufacturing in Australia. As well as imports, Australia relies heavily on our export market. Got to boost the economy and businesses here. So not too dissimilar to our import market. Biggest export item, mineral fuels and oil coming in at 87, nearly $88 billion US, followed by iron ore at $60 billion. So most countries across the world produce cotton. Australia is no exception. As you may or may not know, the US is the world's biggest producer of cotton. However, Australia, we've got a pretty positive reputation around the world, exporting of $3 billion worth annually. So there is always a need for cotton. Absolutely. If you want to grow cotton, come here, you can do it. Now, Australia is also one of the biggest exporters of meat dairy in the world. China has always been our biggest buyer of baby food, sugar, powdered milk products. So our dairy industry is huge. So are the byproducts. Fruit and vegetables, for example, represent $1.5 billion exports annually. Again, chickpeas, lentils, honey, wonderful things. Cereals such as wheat, grains, provide business investment opportunities from all areas across the country. Australians take recycling extremely seriously. Dedicated household bins for all the residents across Australia, and more importantly, just a dedicated attitude to recycling by Australians. As such, there is ample business opportunity within this sector. You know, I've talked about the importance of all aspects of importing and exporting. However, isn't it amazing that innovation can create something out of thin air? Because we can even export fresh air in an aerosol can. Can you believe it? Yes, that's funny. I'm laughing my head off because it is funny. But guess what? It makes big dollars. So, if you need assistance exporting, importing, there is a number of avenues you can take. Well, Austrade, for example, Department of Foreign Affairs, Trade, and of course, the University of Australia. So there's three you can actually tap into. Websites there. DFAT, Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, is under the Federal Govt, as is Austrade, and of course the University of Australia. So there's many opportunities in all sectors. I'm happy to say that many of our past and existing migration clients have purchased businesses and franchises across the country, including large cafes such as Gloria Jean's Coffee and the Coffee Club. And many have invested in hotels, motels, and various tourist resorts. Even the larger food outlets, including McDonald's, KFC, Hungry Jack's. They're all there. There are many more, of course. Talk for everyone. There's many, many opportunities. The hospitality industry is extremely profitable in many ways. If we look at the 2018 statistics, you can actually see restaurants with a big ticket item and $20 billion, followed by pubs and clubs. Car fuel outlets or gas stations in Australia are simply called petrol stations. Big names such as BP, Celtic, Shell, are all here. They're a goldmine because not only are they providing fuel, mechanical services, car washing, they're also providing in-store supermarkets. Those indoor supermarkets have high profit margins. Just a little addition to that, our car wash business here in Australia are thriving. Retail stores are extremely popular here. You can operate any type of store you like, a furniture store, sports stores such as Rebel or Adidas. And don't forget the IT support, printing businesses. These stores need to operate. You can even have your very own car dealership, producing high income for vehicle sales and even higher income for services. So let's talk a little bit about the federal government budget, or should I say our economic recovery plan released this month. Of course, the budget was designed for us to recover economically from the pandemic, and as such, the government has invested $74 billion package to aid all Australians. Part of this includes a payment of $3,000 per month to all employees as a wage subsidy, and this is for a full year ending in March 2021. Further to this, heavy investments in infrastructure programs and the medical sector to advance those sectors so as to strengthen and create business opportunities as well as the creation of 40,000 jobs. I'm always amazed at the generosity of the Australian federal government as well as the Victorian state government. You can literally get grants for almost anything from business to innovation to research and development, but the one grant that really stands out is the First Home Buyers Grant, which amounts to $35,000. And this is tax-free, $35,000. The beauty of this is it allows you to buy or build your first home with a little of 5% profit. That's brilliant. How good is that? The government's new migration plan is underway and allows 13,500 visas till June 2021. The process is fast-tracked. Business visas prioritised over normal visa applications. We want to increase our business migration to Australia, further boost our wealth and prosperity for the future. So my colleague will talk to you about that a little bit further on shortly. But in conclusion, I invite you all to seriously think about the opportunities before you. We are a dynamic and vibrant country, and this business opportunities for those who wish to capitalise. Melbourne on many occasions has been voted one of the most livable cities in the world. It is not hard to see why. Great restaurants, theatres, sports. We value our wealth, cultural diversity, our social attitude in Australia. We have low crime figures, low crime rates, no pollution. The country's defence and border control and security keeps us all well protected. We have one of the world's best education systems that also allows schooling growth for international investors through the Children's Study Visa program. Our climate is fantastic, our scenery high on the list for international tourism. Each state has its own geographical uniqueness, and you are free to travel anywhere within the country at any time you choose. As mentioned earlier, our import-export trade is booming, and there is an endless need for new businesses, new investments right across the country. This is your time. This is your opportunity. So join your predecessors who have already commenced business in Australia and talk to us about starting your business visa application today. You will not regret it, believe me. As our past clients will attest, we will assist you in every step of the way from start to finish. So there's a little bit of fact about you, about Australia, some statistics for you to absorb. So I hope you've enjoyed my discussion, and I hope you really move on, and I'm going to pass you on to my colleague shortly, and he will fill in those blanks that you're thinking of as well. So thank you very much for listening. It's been a pleasure talking to you all. I wish you well and great success for the future. So thank you very much, and thank you so much.
not many of you could hear your presentation. All right, guys, can you please tell me, can you hear me okay or not? Okay, so you can hear me okay, all right. Okay, good, thank you. So, okay, hopefully it should be fine now. All right. Okay, we moving on to our next presenter, and as already you can see, it will be on the recording, so you can listen, and of course we are going to provide the slide as well, so you can have a look as well. We are really sorry that you had this inconvenience. Now with our next presenter, Mr. Mohammed Zahangir Alom, you have already many questions regarding his topic, so you will have that answers, but the thing is you need to hear him first. So what we are going to do, Mr. Zahangir, we'll talk for 1 minute just as a testing. Okay, so if we all good, then we'll go ahead. So I would like to welcome Mr. Zahangir for his presentation.
Good morning, everyone. I believe you all can hear me very clear. I can hear. If you can hear, please type yes, so that we understand that you can listen me carefully. Yeah, I can see, Sally, that everyone typing yes, so they can hear me very clearly. So shall I take over? Good morning and good afternoon, because I can see many audience from different part of the world. It is here 4:32 p.m. in Australia. Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to today's webinar. Our today's webinar topic was business opportunities and business migration to Australia. My colleague Bill Tehan, who is a former mayor of Melbourne, and currently he is Honorary Justice of Peace, also working with me in our land developments, went through business opportunities in Australia. For technical difficulties, if there is a problem, we will send you a link again to listen again the recorded webinar just after this program. So I believe you can again hear, and just for housekeeping purpose, we will email you the slides, so you may not require to write everything that is showing in the slides. I will prefer you have more questions for me, like some notes. And once I finish my presentation, I will go through each and every questions that you have. So, ladies and gentlemen, every year I come to Bangladesh for at least 2 times, and I have physical seminar like I meet you. But this year, due to the pandemic, it is very unlucky that I cannot come. So I had no other option but to organize the webinar through online. And there is always some difficulties when you go through online. Someone said they cannot see me. My picture is on the left, but just for this purpose, I made it a little bit bigger. So this year we had to go through webinar, and I'm really glad that we are adopting the technology because of this COVID. And today we have 283 listeners. Not everyone is typing the message, but we have 283 registered business owners from different places joining today. And this is really a great honor for me to talk in front of all of you, because I believe that you are like iconic, you are very successful in your own business, and you are running a big, large entities. You have, staff, and you have office managements. And I'm really glad that, I have this honor to talk in front of you. I'll start with some new changes that we have recently in Australia. On 19th of September, Yes, 19th of September, the government of Australia announced that there will be 13,500 new business visa only for until June 2021. This is a big number, and people around the world is trying to apply for this, and they have not started taking application right now. They will start this application taking from 23rd of November, which is Monday. So me, my colleagues, everyone working hard to collect all the documents for those who are really interested in preparing the files, so that when the government start taking the application, we can submit the application instantly, because there is a big number of queue. It's not only us, there are many migration law firms and real migration agents working, and they all have files in their hand to apply and secure the position out of these 13,500 new cases. Before I go into this detail, I have a question. I have a question for all of you. I can see many of my known brothers and sisters, you typing from different places of Bangladesh. Yes, I'm really glad to see you all, that you are joining here. And I really love to talk to you personally. But at this moment in this seminar, we're going to cover some main issues. And then what we do is we take some questions and answer. And obviously from tomorrow onward, I will be start calling and talking to you. So the question for you, ladies and gentlemen, is, do you know anyone who migrated to Australia? I can see many, you say yes. You say no, but most of the people, yes, 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 no, yes, yes. So I see it's like 80% is more like yes. So I just say, look, every single day you get SMS in your mobile phone saying migration to Australia is very easy, saying various things, only 200,000 Australian dollar and you get migration. I believe every one of you are having all these types of messages every day from different migration companies, but I can assure you 99% of them are sub-agents. They do not have any idea what they are talking about. All they want you to give them some fee to start, and then it depends on luck. They're not going thorough your documents before taking the application. And this is why we have many applications that we talk to them, and then suddenly they disappear. And then after a few months, they come and say, look, I went to this agency, they promised me it will be a success, and it was a bit cheaper than you, maybe 50,000 Bangladeshi taka, $1,000. And I started this one, and now I got a refusal. So look, this is dangerous. This is dangerous, I would say, because when you get a refusal, it's the worst thing you ever can imagine. Because you all the time, every time you apply for an Australian visa, you have to explain why it was refused, what was the problem, and some refusals have 3 years ban. That you cannot apply anything, any visa in Australia for next 3 years. So I would highly recommend that, the reason why I put up this slide is we are Australian government approved. And if you go to the website MARN.gov.au, this is the government of Australia. You can type my name or my company or my registration number, and you can see who we are, where is our office, where we located, what is the review, everything detail is there. So I would recommend you to go through me or any other registered someone, not with any sub-agent. We are the first Bangladeshi migration firm in Australia. We registered in 2007, but we start working since December 2005. We have at this moment 3 offices, one Melbourne, one in Bangladesh, Dhaka, and recently we started office in UK, London. We process applications from around the world. You can migrate to any state. It's not compulsory that you have to come to Melbourne or Sydney. You can go to any state. And so far we have helped more than 15,372 applications, both onshore and offshore. Our success rate is 96% only because we do not take any case. It's not like you just come and pay us. It's not like that. If you see other agents, they will say yes. They will say, but never say no. But we don't. We don't because we are specialized on business migration. We only work for business and investor category. We work for Australia. We started for New Zealand and UK and Canada recently. And we support from application till citizenship and your passport for the country that you apply for. If you open the newspaper or SMS, you don't get message or ad from us quite often because we get our clients from a referral. This is like word of mouth, most of our business. And I believe after doing business 16 years, if we cannot build up this reputation, we are not doing good. We shouldn't be there. So this is what our strength. And many people in this industry say, if you go to Bridging West, if you talk to Mr. Zahangir, if he looks at your documentation and if he says, yes, it is possible, it is possible. If he says, no, you don't waste your time, because I have said no to, because if in a typical month, we have 100 query, we say no to 95, 96, 92, like this. Because not everyone can meet the requirements. This is quite hard. But this is why we have a guidance program. When we see someone is genuine, but have some shortcomings, have some leakings that they can overcome during the time, if we allow some time. And we take them for our guidance program and we prepare them so that they become eligible. We don't just apply when they're not eligible. And the support service that we have in Australia, is unparalleled. And if you know, many of you, that there are business immigrants came to Australia already, and some of them are not happy. Some of them giving negative feedback to the people who are back in the country, only because they do not have support service. They come through the agency, they do not have support service. And this is why we have this exceptional support service that I'm going to talk in the next few slides. But before that, I'll tell what is business migration. Business migration is for eligible business owners. So this is for business owners or investors who wants to invest. So if you are a business owner, we see how many share percentage you have in the business. And if you are an investor, we see how did you develop this investment portfolio? Where did you get the original money to invest? And they want to migrate with their full family. So anyone like, the son or daughter got 19 years old, they still can apply. That's no problem. And their intention is to establish the business in Australia, or they want to do investment in Australia. And their intention is to live in Australia and get citizenship. I know there will be many questions saying, I cannot stay, my wife and the kids can stay. Yes, it is possible because there is something called roll swap. I will come into that. So first I want to ask all of you, that do you need to migrate? Because I know that many of you, most of you, I will say, have excellent support service in your country. You have people working for you. You have support at your home. Your missus don't want to go to Australia because, there you have to work everything by yourself. So there are many reasons people say, oh, no, I don't want to migrate to Australia. But I ask them, have you ever thought about your kids' education? Are you happy with the education that you have at this moment? Do you want them to go and study somewhere where they enroll into a school or university, which is world standard? And have you ever thought that the way how you are doing the business, can your future generation, the kids when they grow up, can they do the same way? Can they manage the business in the same way that you are doing? Will they be able to do that? And do you think that they have a secure life after 20 years, after 50 years, after 30 years? So I have seen many families, they ask, they say, okay, my kid says, Baba, you have the ability to migrate, why you are not, So there are factors. You can type in the chat box, what is the main reason that you think you should migrate? And the next thing I want to ask you, during the pandemic, it gave us the lesson. I know that many business people in Bangladesh and in many other countries, they wanted to go to their regular checkup in Singapore, and they could not. They could not because they on a restriction situation. But if you were in those countries, you could go to hospital, you could go for the checkup. And obviously the big intention, business expansion. So just have a think about it. What is the reason why I should migrate or not migrate? So ladies and gentlemen, my question is, do you think if you migrate, you can contribute to more to your home country? Because sometimes I've been asked by many business owners, like, you are taking most of the business people out of this country, and this is not good for the country. But I ask, is it good or bad? I believe it is very good. It is very good because you look at the China, they have all the business people around the world in every countries. They now exporting everything from China to those countries. They importing, they creating jobs. I have seen many Chinese or in some other nationality that they cannot speak English very well, but they have job. They have very good job because they have their own country people doing business in those countries they are in, and they need, like, those language speaking, uh, skilled person. So I believe if you migrate to Australia, it is not depriving your home country. It is more like helping your home country, that you can go expand your business and you can make a strength of your own country. And then you can do export, import, do other business, do investments, and that will help your country, help Australia, help your family. So it's like nowadays we think about global world. And if you see my colleague went through the COVID, only 907 death in Australia, where I have many other countries. You can see that 50,000, 200,000, 250,000 death. So this COVID gave another indication that you should think of Australia, because Australia is the country which has these types of planning and the management of any situation, as well as helping their businesses, helping their people, and the support services. And I just want to mention that last 8 years, Melbourne was the world's most livable city. There are 3 more cities in Australia was on the top 10 list. When I came to Australia, if I were asking, do you have halal food or something? No one knows about it, but now in every suburb, every area, they have food, choice of clothes, everything of every nationality, every race, every religion. It is a very free and fair country. It is very safe. I can guarantee that in midnight, a lady goes to work night shift, there will be no issue, no news. People are educated because there is a threshold to come to Australia that you have to have IELTS. 6 in each band, 5.5 was before, now 6 in each band. Not for maybe business migration, but the other migrations. So that sort of measurements give me the comfort and confidence that I can tell you Australia would be the best destination. And the weather, the fresh water, our Australian Prime Minister, he drinks from the tap water. That's how the tap water is clean for us. And close to, many of you join from Asian country like Bangladesh, India, Indonesia, Dubai. It's not too far. It's not like 24-hour journey. And world's best healthcare facilities. Because I have seen in US, that the debates is more about like healthcare. But no one asked this issue here in Australia because it's already been established. There are other reasons why you should consider Australia: political and economical stability, work-life balance. Because in many countries, I have seen the main person of the family goes in the morning, come back middle of the night. That's how busy work-life balance in those countries. But here we have 8 hours, and then you go for your family. You have freedom of speech, and interestingly, 1.8% interest if you buy house. It's sometimes cheaper buying a house if you just have the deposit. And government grants and support that you have, I mentioned, is extraordinary. I'll just say a few benefits of business migration: that you can bring your family, you can sponsor them, you can get your kids' education for free up to year 12. Healthcare is completely free for immigrants. And they will say, okay, if you cannot take leave from your work, no need to take leave when you are in hospital. For example, you go with your wife for delivery. She needs to stay 3 days in hospital. They will say, husband doesn't need leave from work. You'll take leave when she goes to home. That sort of care they have. You can rely on them. And very importantly, many countries, you cannot do the business by yourself. You have to take someone local as a sponsor. But in Australia, you can do your business, any business, anywhere, 100% share ownership by yourself. You don't have to depend on someone. And obviously, travel to many countries is very close. There's another benefit is that the main business person can travel anytime, no restriction. So you can continue your business. You can bring your current employee to the new business in Australia and they can help you. You can take loan from Australian bank. And when you purchase a house, it is freehold. So it's not leasehold. So questions to audience. Do you want to see the options? What are the options that you have to migrate to Australia? What are the visa subclasses you have to come? So I'll say there are 3 or 4 major options, 3 to 4 major options. One is if you are a business person, that's 188A. And if you are an investor, for example, you high official or you had inherited property or asset or fund from your parents or family or net asset. So that is called investor stream. And if you have significant amount of business, that is 132, it is direct PR. But if you don't have any of this, but you want to apply and you want to make a plan and you want to go under guidance, then we have school kids visa. School kids visa is something that, you get this visa with the mother for a long period of time. The children become 18 years, the youngest one. And when your spouse with kids are studying in Australia, you can do investment or business for 2 years, and we can assist that. And we easily can apply for 188B or 132 visa under the guidance program. So these are the 4 options we have. And now I'll go for the detail about 188A, which is for the business owners. Just before that, the pathway is school visa, if you start here, or provisional migrants, A or B, 188. And then you become PR, permanent residence, or someone can straight away apply 132 from your home country instead of going all this process, if you are eligible. Or someone who came on provisional visa, 188A or B, they can apply 888. That is also permanent residence. And when you become permanent resident, the next step is citizenship and applying for passport. If we look at the 188 visa, we see this is for 4 years, 3 months. This visa is for 4 years, 3 months. And you have to own your country or any country 30% share ownership into the business for at least 2 years. So if you have shared 20%, we will not count this business on this category, but we will count in the second one, 188B. And your net asset needs to be 800,000 Australian dollar. Your turnover from the business, eligible business, needs to be 500,000 Australian dollar. And you have to score 65. So we will go through the point test and see how many points you have. And if you have meet this criteria, we will apply for 188A visa. It will take around 8 to 9 months. And then when you come to Australia, you have some conditions. If you remember how I showed that when you come to Australia, you apply for PR again. So this condition says role swap for applicant to spouse is available. Means you can come and you can then ask your spouse to sit on the driving seat, and you can be like a family member, and you can go on and off to your country and run your own business. So in that case, you or your spouse needs to stay at least 1 year out of recent 2 years, operate the business in Australia for 2 years. And within these 2 years, she needs to stay at least 1 year, half of the time. And it's not at a time, it's like accumulative. So everything adds up. And invest $400,000 in business. And from this business that you run for 2 years, in the second year, you make turnover of 300, not the first year. First year can be 100,000, say. That's okay, as long as you are running the first year. Second year, you have to make 300,000. And I'll show you some examples that 300,000 for some people, 2 exports, 2 few containers, enough. And we have all these arrangements. We can help this. And then you have to have one of these. Either you put extra 200,000 Australian dollar into business or property or land, or you give to full-time employee. You take 2 full-time employee in the second year. So the next one is you take one of these. 400 you invested already in the business. In the second year, you make 300,000 Australian dollar turnover. In the second year, you invest another 200 or take 2 full-time staff and pay them. And you can apply just after 2 years. But those who are having not business or less than 30% shareholding in the business, so up to 10%. So those who have 10% share or 20%, less than 30%, or have sufficient fund, they can apply for 188B visa. I would like to ask, can everyone hear me well? Can you hear me well? Please type yes. So I just know that yes, the sound is okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So the investor category, thank you very much. Yep. The investor migration, it says this is for someone less than 30% shareholding, plus they have money to invest. That's the two things. It's the same for, thank you everyone. So this is same 4 years, 3 months visa, and you have to invest 1.5 million to Australian government bonds. So you're not required to come and buy a business, run business, maintain the staff, do the turnover, not anything like that, no business. Just buy the bond, and the bond is with the Australian government, and it stays there for 4 years. So it's secure. It's not much interest there from the bond, but it's secure. And you have to show that in your home country in the beginning you have at least 2.25 million assets. And you have to score total 65 points like 188A. And we'll go through the point system and we'll see how many points you have. And when you come on this visa in Australia, you have to follow certain conditions. The conditions are like before. You can role swap between applicant and spouse. So you can come and you can hand over it the next run like a relay race to your spouse, and you can be free. You can go back to your country, come back anytime. So no harm to your own business. And your wife or spouse needs to then carry on the next 2 years. Out of 4 years, the spouse needs to stay for 2 years. And obviously, you need to maintain the bond that you made to the Federal Government Reserve Bank. Here, you cannot withdraw it. Thank you. Now you can hear. And you can apply PR after 2 years. Actually, this one will be after 4 years when the 4 years term is over. So if you don't want to take the hassle of doing business here and then testify yourself, then apply again PR, then there is a direct pathway for you to apply permanent residency from your home country as a direct entry. The interest for the bond will be less than 1%, but I will answer all other questions in the next session, but just a quick one. Yes, so if you have a significant business, and there are the conditions is written, if you have significant business, it's called 132A, then you can come to Australia as a PR from day one. And obviously you will do business after you come here, there's no doubt. But you don't have to come, do the business, then apply, and then get PR. Wait, from the day one you become PR. So the requirements are same like 188A is you have to have management experience, like you have to be sort of managing director or director with huge responsibility, and 30% shareholder. Your business asset of your share part needs to be at least 400,000 Australian dollar business asset. Net asset, which is combination of personal and business, applicant and spouse together, needs to be 1.5 million. and your turnover from the business needs to be $3 million. So this is why it is called significant. So I have seen many $100 million turnover, many cases I have done. That's absolutely fine. There are out there many business owners, they have 3 million is nothing for them. And the good thing is there is no point test. All this category, the age limit is obviously 18 to 55. But if someone is 55 plus, they still can apply up to 65 years of age in Adelaide. They will not get any points for the age, but they can apply. So when to apply for this direct PR 132, you have to have a very unique business plan, something no one did before or did before, but in a different way. You have something new, and it needs to be endorsed by the state government of Australia. There are, as Sally, my colleague said, 6 states and 2 territories. So those bodies, those government bodies needs to endorse your business plan. And we have, for your information, we have very talented business planning people who have PhD degree in business, and we have them with us so that they can listen, they can understand your business experience, and they can see what is the demand and what is the state government bodies that they will endorse, and they can draft the business plan for you. That is not an issue. As long as you have other requirements fulfilled, we can help you on the business plan. And based on your business plan that you want to do here in Australia, you will have some business agreements, communications, memorandum of understanding, signing between 2 businesses, that you want to come and do the business with them. And what sort of business you can get into in Australia, or you can get in agreement, those business needs to be very significant, big business, not like cafe or restaurant. They have to have at least $3 million turnover or more for last 2 years in their tax record. So those types of business, you can get enter into an agreement with them that you want to come and be part of them. Or you can come and say, I want to start from the beginning, but you have to make sure that your turnover should be something like 3 million or more. That sort of business you have to go into, because they are giving you directly permanent residency. It's not like testing that you have to come and test. They want to know that you already well advanced and you know many businesses already, and you know what you want to do here. No research required for you. And then I'll go through the eligibility point test for 188A and B for you. So if you have pen and paper, please write, and in the end, you know how many points you have in total. So point tests are based on age, business experience, revenue, not profit, just revenue, net asset, personal and business, applicant and spouse together. So you know how much market value of the properties. Market value, even you bought less, is recorded in the tax documentation less, but that's okay. We'll go through our valuer and we'll see what is the market price now. So based on the market price, net asset, if you have any loan from the bank, you have to deduct it. So any liability, you take it off, and then the net asset is what we get points for. And there are innovation points, which I'll go through. So you can see the age point, and you can see, you can fit your age into the range, and you can write your own point. So for example, if you are 42 years old, your point will be 20. So please write down your age point, not in the chat box, just in the paper or in your mobile calculator. If you are above 55, you still can apply because we can get you 10 points from the state. If you are 55 plus up to 65, we still can get 10 points from the state endorsement. And yeah, the next one is experience. If your business experience is 6 years, you get 10 points. If your experience is 10 years, you get 17 points. So please have your experience for business. Net asset. So net asset, as I said, applicant and spouse, personal plus business. So all together, you see how much asset you have and what's the point for you. I can see many of you are writing your own points. So 7 years is 15 points for experience. I'll just go over again point test when I reach to the end. So net asset, and then revenue or turnover. If your turnover, just the sale volume, not profit, how much you declare as your sale. And from sale, you take off the cost of goods, expenses, and everything. So just the revenue, you have the points and you can write how many points you have. I can see many of you have 25, 15, 35, 15, 25, 35. Yes, very good. And the innovation points. Innovation points, if you are exporting, your business is export related, 15 points. If you have a trademark, 10 points. If you have joint venture with foreign other country business, 5 points. And see how it says if you have IELTS. If you have IELTS, that means it is not mandatory if you have. So if you have IELTS 5.5, IELTS score 5.5, then you get another 5 points. And if you have graduation, business science and technology, for example, bachelor in business, you have 10 points, or bachelor in social science, 5 points. Bachelor in history, 5 points. So if it is business, science and technology, 4 years graduation, you have 10 points. If it is 3 years or 4 years, but not business, science and technology, other subjects, then you get 5 points. It is not mandatory. These all points are optional. So please write your total score. Just total how many points you have. If you have less education, there is no point. So if it is like in a diploma, there's no point. I'll just quickly go for all of you. This is the age points. And this is the business experience. And this is the net asset. You just quickly pick which one you have. This is the revenue or turnover. If you have PhD, it will be 15 points. No extra points. Sorry, it will be 10 points. For PhD, it will be 10 points. It's two options, either 5 or 10. But if you have PhD, we have different categories. If you have PhD and you have business, That's again another categories. I would just like to inform you there are more than 890 categories of visa in Australia, and it is very hard to discuss all those categories in one session. It's not possible. But if we see someone have personal interest to know any specific because of their own situation, we happy to discuss that. But today's webinar is based on this. So please type your total points. I got a question, no points for import-based business. Well, look, if you import, that means you are supplier, for example. So there is no extra point if you are importing, like becoming a supplier. You importing from China or any other country, and then you supply like a wholesaler or distributor in your country. It's like business experience, no. But if you export, which even export means like, you have to export out of the country, like not local export, like you exporting to a different organization in your own country, your goods needs to go out of the boundary of the country. So I'll answer all those. And that's why we see it one-to-one. So what is your score? I found many of you already wrote your score, and I can see quite eligible. If so, we have other 10 business categories, but you need to contact us, please. And then we'll sit with your resume, CV, and we'll advise you accordingly. So ladies and gentlemen, my question is, you want to apply for 188A or B or 132? Now you know pretty much you are almost half of the consultant. Now you can advise people. You just can tell them, basic things, sometimes they ask you, so 188A, Mizanur Rahman, Mijan Bhai, I can see you want to apply 188A, sure. 132, 132A, 188A applied already. 188A, I can see Imrul Faiz Choudhury Bhai, you already applied. And the process, what's the procedure? The process is we have to get your information. We'll send you a form, and we need to go through your documentation. Maybe we need to make a long meeting with you, discuss everything, because there is no room to make mistakes. So once we do the eligibility check, we are sure that yes, you can apply. Yes, I can see 132. Those who already applied, many of you, I applied for you, I can see your name. And someone who did not, I did not apply, maybe applied through someone else. Just please, for your information, when you come to Australia, you in any state, you in Sydney or Melbourne, please contact with us. We'll be here to help you. If you need any support in Australia, we are here to help. No matter you come through us or not, because we have seen many migrants, because they just come because other companies, they process only the visa, but we do other businesses as well. That's why we can help in your business, because when you come to Australia, you need to show the business, and in a new country, you need assistance. You need support. And that's what we do here. I have a full team of my colleagues, other colleagues. They're not in migration team, they're in other business team, and they can help you. And I can keep in touch with you all the time, and I can make sure that your next step or visa conditions are fulfilled as per the immigration requirements. So the process is, we check the eligibility, then we make the unique business plan, we submit expression of interest to the federal government, and we submit the endorsed business plan for endorsement to the state government. When expression of interest, state government, they all approve, we apply for your family to the federal government for the visa or PR, direct PR or pathway. And then we submit the documentation within 28 days. And then they go on a serial, like a queue. Around, as per the new migration plan, around 6 months later, you get a case officer and they ask for some more documents if they need. Otherwise, they ask for your family medical and police clearance. And they issue the migration. At the moment, before 19th of September 2020, the processing time was 15 months, roughly. 15 months, sometime even they took 2 years. But now, pandemic changed everything. They need more business people to come in, and they're processing very fast. And they increased the number of spots. 13,500 visa they will issue by June 2021. And they will start the application, taking the application from 23rd of November. That's the advanced news. 23rd of November, they will start taking application and they will finish before June. And there are hundreds of applications. I myself have 72 files. I myself have 72 files that I have to work in next few weeks. I have to make sure that all the documents are right. I have my colleagues, we are working day and night just to make sure that we are on time and we can apply on 23rd of November. We don't want to miss anyone because you know that on 8th of September, they opened for a few weeks. On 21st of September, they closed. So it was only for 13 days. So 8th of September opened and 21st September they closed. We applied for 17. We only had one no, rest all approved. And we were like all the documentation lined up. Sultan Habibullah, you said you heard my reputation from Mara. Thank you very much for that. This is what I work for, and I want to help everyone to come and settle down. Inshallah, everyone do very good. Just initial first 1 or 2 years need support. After 1 year or after 6 months, you can be all right. You don't need anything, but we'll be there. That's no problem if you need. But initially you need support. That's what I gone through myself as a student in Australia in 2001. So I know every step of the migrants in Australia, what we go through. So I was a student in here, then I became PR, then I became citizen, then I went to the job. I used to work in control system power as an electrical engineer. Then I do the law course in Victoria. Then I came to migration. Then I start my business, and then I have other businesses. So I can see the both side of it, like before you come and after you come, before you start, once you settle. I already explained all this. No hidden cost for us. We'll give you everything in writing, and then we just stick to that. If someone wants to ask, what is the fee? First, we just need to check your eligibility. Once we happy that yes, we want to take the case, because as I told, we don't take all cases because sometimes we see it's risky. We don't want to damage our reputation, honestly speaking. And if it is a sure merit case, we'll take. If it is not, we'll guide you. And if we take, we'll give you the written fee, like, how much it costs, when, how many installments, but it is very, very, very reasonable. It's cheaper than others because we don't see only the visa fee, like, other agency, that's their income. When you come, you settle down, you do some business, we may do something together in future, no one knows. So I want to be very reasonable, our fee very reasonable, there's no doubt about it. Don't worry about the fees. Main thing is eligibility. If it is eligible, we'll write down everything and then we'll give to you. You have time and you think, and if it is okay, then we proceed. There's no problem. So question to all, what is the feedback from your circle that people who are already in Australia, who migrated on business migration? Because sometimes I here mix. I see positive, positive, positive. Yeah, so most of you are writing, you have positive. Yes, I can see positive. Cost of my journey. Journey not too expensive. Please contact the travel agency. It's not expensive. Positive, positive. Yes, yes, it's good. It's very good. Look, I have seen many business owners. See, they're very mature. You are very mature person. You are not like students that you come and you don't know nothing. You almost travel every week. I know that. My clients, those who I work for every week, either America, Europe, this country, that country, they're very frequent travel people. They know everything. But when you come to a new country, it is little bit different. When you come to new country, it is different. I tell you, I have seen people every week they are on flight because of their garments exports and meetings. And when someone said, I went to Germany, my buyer sent me private jet to take me to his, farmhouse. That sort of people. But I tell you, when you go with your family for holiday, and when you come to any country to settle down, it's very, very different. Because you have to buy the furniture, you have to buy the crockeries, you have to arrange everything. And your family not habituated, with all this self-supporting work. So what we do is we have two services in Australia. One is relocation support, which means before you come to Australia, we arrange your renting house. We make sure that you come, stay 1 year in a rent, understand the locality, understand the area, and then you go and buy. There's no problem. First time we want you to rent out, easy. And we help for that. And then you know everything, and then you buy with your own decision. We'll help you. There's no problem. And then we register your health insurance. We register you for a GP, that which area you're going to live nearby, because your school needs all this vaccine reports and everything for your kids. And then we have, if you want, we have limousine service in airport to pick you up to your home. And once you settle down, we have the process of immigration card and ID card for the full family. We help you for kids, school and college enrollments, and then we take you for a tour for local shops, train, bus, community programs. We let you know everything. And then it's easy that we have Uber here as well. I would say you do not need to write your email or phone number in this chat box for your privacy. I will request you not to write your email or your mobile phone number, something personal here in the chat box. We have your contact details. If you don't have, you have our contact details, so you can communicate with us. We maintain Australian government policy of privacy of information. We cannot share your information with other people. Even it is good for us. Say, oh, I get this gentleman, migrated. You can talk to him. Easy for us, but it's not by law. We can't do that. So please don't write your email or phone number in the chat box. And if your missus, for example, want support service in the house, we can send cleaners daily, weekly, monthly, no problem. And you can maintain your lifestyle in Australia. Because I believe when you bring your family, and if they see that it's very discomfortable, then you cannot concentrate on the business. So we want you to maintain your lifestyle, and it's not very expensive. Many business people that I did migration, they have housekeeper at home. They have even someone have a housekeeper that drive them, their missus to the shops. But interesting, most of them, they learn in 2 to 3 months, they learn driving. We also can refer you to female driving instructors here, or male, Australian or local, your native, doesn't matter. We have all networks and resources. So when you finish and settle down your family, now you want to focus on your business, we have our corporate lawyers to do registration for your company. We have our chartered accountants to register your tax file, trade license, ABN, company, ACN number, and take all the approvals that to do your business based on your own business, what sort of approval you need. And they take all the approvals on your behalf. So no stress. And if you want to buy a business, we have business agents and brokers that they can search and give you 10 businesses that you want to buy, you want to look at, and you can visit, and you can make decision which one you want to buy, or you want to start yourself. We can support many businesses that in next slides. And when you want to buy a business, we can help you to go draft the contract, lease agreements, shopping center or security bond, and the settlement, the transfer of the business into your name. And remember that based on the business structure, there are different types of tax in future. So it is very important that the structure of the business is right from the very beginning. Otherwise, you have to change again. And every time you do change, it is costly, expensive. So we better do it from the right from the beginning. Family trust got very flexibility. But all the CPA, chartered accountant, they will talk to you about that before you form these businesses. And if you want to do export-import business, we can help your logistics, warehousing. We can recommend you where to buy from, sourcing of the product to export. Or if you want to import, we can refer you to the sourcing that they want to buy from you. If you remember in the second year, you want to buy some extra $200,000, you want to invest into land, because 200 you can't buy a house. Or if you want to buy a house, we can do that. Many of our clients, they buy the land and design in their own way, because everyone wants attached bathroom, en suite. And it's not here, like it's a little bit different. So we have interior designers, architects, draftsperson to design in your own way, and we can take finance for you. We can help in your construction in 6 stages. We can go for inspection. We have those supports. And if you want to sell the house or you want to rent it out, we can help you. So, ladies and gentlemen, my question to you, do you think our relocation and business support service is important for you when you migrate to Australia? Because I tell everyone that, see, before getting migration or visa grant, everyone is worried that, yes, when is my grant letter coming? Why is not coming now? Still now, very stressed. But when the migration grant letter comes, they start worrying. Like, oh my God, where I'm going to is a new country. I have a very settled life. My kids are very well supported here. And I'm going to a new country with kids in this age. And I am not young, like student. So they get confused. So I learned over this time, what my clients, they need. And this is why we design like this, that, they need support service here. So there will be positive feedback, and they will refer their clients, their friends, colleagues, and business partners, associates, and we get more clients. And I can give you an example. Many people say, oh, in Australia, there is no much more to do business. One of my client from Dubai, he bought 200-acre farm, $6 million. We sourced it for them, the family, and very good location, very good location. Melbourne Metropolitan is just maybe 6 minutes from the farm. So it's not like, countryside, like 800 kilometers away, not like this, just 10 minutes, 6 to 10 minutes, depends on which way you go. The farm, 200 acres, and the farm has cattle, as well as one part of the farm grows vegetable, lettuce, and supply to the local market. And we source a family, local Australian family, for them to live in this house, the house that you can see. And they look after the cattle, they'll do the farming for this owner. And see, in future, in this farm, when the zoning change, it will become like 1,400 home plots. 1,400 home will be there developed, let's say in 10 years time or 15, 20 years time. And each lot now, if I divide 6 million by 1,400, now it costs $4,285. 4,000 only. Where now in Melbourne, you cannot find a land to build a house less than 300,000. Very rare. If there is like 280, it will be a bit far. Or maybe some issues with the land. But say good land, good 400 square meter land in Melbourne, 300,000, very cheap. But this, my client from Dubai, they bought this land and their cost for each lot is now only $4,000. So after next, for example, 10, 15 years later, the family will develop this one. What they sell this one and they make huge profit. And I have interest from different my clients who are already in Australia. They want to say, okay, I don't want to buy 200 acres. It's too big for me. Can you make a syndicate like 5, 10 people and we can buy together, or someone buy 2 shares? We have all these options. So there are many things. The great things will happen when you come. But first you need to come, you need to stay here 6 months, you need to understand locality. You just learn the local knowledge, because I don't want to get you into anything that you are not sure. Once you are sure, then it's less pressure for me. So once you're sure, then we have many things to do together. And I help many clients of mine, many, to export all these items. And you know how demand. And they just make 3 containers, 5 containers in a year. 5 containers in a year, make $400,000 turnover. Their requirement is met. It's not hard, it's easy. We can source all those. And someone wants to go into development business, we can help that. We have running few projects at the moment, and we can discuss. I can say hello from Mazharul Islam Akhund. Welcome to the webinar. In some of our projects, we do all this in Australia since 2012. And we also have 3 builders working for us to build houses. When you need house, we can build that. About the land, when I was talking about, it's like 400 square meter in Kata is like more than almost 6 Kata. It's very cheap compared to even Bangladesh. It's very cheap land here. So I believe there is no issue if we help you to migrate to Australia. And once you migrate, we help you for the relocation, for the business management. But the first thing we need to know, if you are eligible, yes, we want to start the journey, because as I said, 23rd of November will be the opening again. And we already have 74 files. And we expect another, let's say another maybe 55s to start. We're talking to different business owners to proceed. I'm and my team here to help all the time. We are really supportive. If you know from any of your friends or relative, we'll be here to help. And when you settle, we work together. And for your convenience, whatever the fee normally we charge, 15,000 or whatever, we give you discount only this time. We want you not to miss. We want you not to miss this opportunity that government is giving. 13,500 visa they're gonna issue by June 2021. So this is the government cap and announcement. It's already available in Department of Home Affairs Minister's website, and it is published on 19th of September. So anyone will be taking applications up until 19th of November is the last day we can take and then process by this time. And if we take later, then maybe not during this, quota, because it's not only us, it's many other companies, they will be applying. And I explained, we'll go through everything. If you are eligible, we'll send a document list and you submit the documents. So just in a summary, I want to say that we help start to finish. It's not like just visa apply and then you go to a new country and you know where. We apply and then help in relocation and migration, business management, up until citizenship. We guide you to prepare the documents. So I know many of my clients who I work, they assign their secretary or another director or office accounts to work with my colleagues and prepare the document. They send the documents by DHL to me. I go through with my other lawyers. And then once ready, we submit the application. And we have our own valuer audit firm to refer to you to help you to prepare the documents that if anything needs in Australia, relocation support, complete business management support. And when you become PR, we do many things, endless opportunity. And day by day, immigration gets harder because once they have, when I came, I got my PR in 3 days, but now they're talking about 8 to 9 months and we are very happy. But I got my PR in 3 days and I applied myself in 2001 actually. So over the time it's get harder only. So please apply now. If you have, my urge is, if you have any question, any confusion, if you want to speak with your family, like you and your spouse wants to ask questions, I'm happy to answer. Because it's day by day, it's get harder. And thank you everyone for joining. Our next session will be question and answer. But before going to that, I want to thank Mr. Bill Tehan, Justice of Peace and former Mayor of Melbourne. I want to thank you, Sally Jahan, Business Development Manager, Bridging West, Australia. I want to thank Mr. 𝗦𝗽𝗲𝗀𝗁, General Manager of Bridging West. I want to thank you, 𝗦𝗽𝗲𝗀𝗁, Stacey Akhtar, Salma Rini, Frederick, William, James, for all your supports. And over the last 1 month, you have talked to everyone, registered them, and by the help of James from IT and media support, we could get this webinar up on time. And I also thank Gianna, Oishi, Farah, Mary, and many of our processing team members. Thank you everyone for joining. I am really glad that I have talked to you, and I want to see you in Melbourne, obviously, or in Sydney or Adelaide. Doesn't matter, I can fly and go and meet you. There's no problem, but I want to see you in Australia, obviously. I want to see you success. I want to see your kids happy, you have a happy life. That's the aim. That's what I am doing for last 17 years. That's my achievement. And I hope you have many questions I want to ask, answer. So if you have any questions, please ask in the chat box. I will hand over it to my colleague Sally to run the question session.
Can feel it. You guys, we all are back, and we can feel it. You were really attentive to hear all that Mr. Zahangir said. So that's good. That's what all you need to know. Now we are open for questions. So please, if you start typing question one by one, and we can go through accordingly.
Those who missed the program will send a video link to see the program again. But
Yes, you
Sally,
will
you can
receive
start the questions. Taking the questions, please.
Yeah, we are taking question now. So please drop your question here. Okay, first question. What is the interest rate for bond? And also how to transfer money legally?
I think I will answer this question. What is the interest rate for bond? Interest rate is very minimum. It's less than 1%. It's not much money if you think about, but it's more security. The money is there. It's with the government, and you're getting the PR in 4 years' time, and you are not in the list of doing things if you don't want to. But if you don't want to do the bond, there is an option for 188A that I'm interested to work for you. And the next question, how to transfer money legally? It depends on the country that you have. Some country they have restrictions. Some country they don't have any restriction. So, for example, if you have any restriction, what I can say about Australian government rule is the money needs to come from out of Australia. First thing, it cannot be from inside Australia. You cannot say your friends or brothers to get you money into your account. It must be coming from outside Australia through a bank channel, which is telegraphic transfer. So you have to do a TT from outside Australia into your Australian account, regardless which country it is from. Maybe from your home country, maybe not. But it needs to be coming from outside Australia into your bank account through TT transfer. Thank you. Next question.
Next question, how much is the fee for the process and provide the application if successful?
Okay, the fee normally we do not discuss because fee depends on the family situation, how complex someone have a refusal, how long it needs to be, like, how much work needs to, but I can give you a general idea. It is going to be around 15,000 Australian dollar, where other migration agents, they will charge you somewhere 25, 30,000. Even I know many Chinese company, they charge 50,000, but will charge as minimum. This is the minimum rate that Australian government registered migration agents they can take is 15,000 Australian dollar. That's the minimum by the Australian government, and this is the minimum we charge only because we want to have a relationship. We want you to come here, we want you to settle, and we do together many things time ahead in coming days. So we'll charge you minimum, we'll not put pressure. I know most of my clients, they can afford $50,000. There's no problem for them. But I just want the first start to make easy. That's all about it. And
all right.
Next question.
Next is how will transfer investment money?
Well, I think I answered already this question. You have to transfer the money from any country to Australia through bank channel. So it needs to come from a country, any country, through Australia TT bank channel to your Australian account. So first thing you have to get migration. Australian government will give you a letter saying how much money you have to invest. And if you show this letter to any country, which is, for example, Singapore or Dubai or any other country, they have free trade and they can transfer the TT, the money. I think I answered this one. Yes.
Okay, can I take my parents with me if migrate by 188A?
Can I take my parents with me if migrate by 188? That's a good question. The question was, if you have elderly parents, can you add your parents as a family dependent? The answer is depends on if both parents, mom and dad, alive, they are not dependent on you by law. But there are other categories. There is parent visa that you can apply for mom and dad together. Once you come here, you become PR, you can apply for your parents. There's no problem. But if one of the parent is not anymore alive in the world, like you have only mom or only dad, and the mom or dad is living with you and dependent on you financially and socially, and you can show that she or he is living on your the same address as you, you can add them. There's no problem.
All right, there's one question like time duration. He just wrote time duration. I think he meant like that processing time.
Sorry, the question was?
The processing time or the duration?
The processing time will be 8 to 9 months maximum under the new migration plan.
What are the requirements to get kids admission below 15?
Sorry, the question time duration, and then the question, what are the requirements to get kids admission below 15 in Australia? Okay. If the kids below 15 in Australia, all you need is to send us their transcript, mark sheet, and their passport, and obviously one of the guardian like mom passport as well, and we can send you a list, but it's no hard list for the admission. We have done many cases, there's no problem. If you contact us, we'll give you a list of documents that you need for the admission for your kids, and that's very normal documents that we'll be asking. Basically their school records, which grade they studied, and their result. Based on this, it will depend which school they will take your kids based on their result, obviously, and we'll give you at least 3 options. And from 3 options, you can select any of them, but we'll give 3 very good ones.
Is it investment okay to do in the stock market under business category?
Okay, Mr. Abdul Hai, you ask, is stock market investment okay for business category? No. If you probably asking me the question for 188A, that you come here and invest into stock market and you maintain the investment into stock market. No, because 188A says you have to be involved into a business. You have to manage the business day-to-day operation and management. There is no involvement day-to-day management in a stock market rather than just investment and monitoring the investment. So they don't accept that, but you can invest 400,000 into your business. The remaining 200,000 you can invest into stock. The primary one is to be in a business.
All right. This is a long question. What is the tax-free up there on my income, and what is the percentage? And is any hassle to bring money there in my account?
There is no hassle in Australian side. In Australian side, there is no hassle to bring the money, as long as you have the letter from the Department of Immigration saying you have been granted a visa that you require to bring money. So there is no problem in Australian side. The sending country, they have to have this law. For example, I mentioned Singapore or Dubai. They can easily do it if you show this immigration letter to them. And what is the tax fee? There is no fee for the money, but there is tax on your net income. So for example, if you have your net income is 60,000 Australian dollar, then we suggest you that you have a family trust structure. So you, your spouse, your kids, they all become beneficiary. So for example, 4%. So 4% equally distribute 60,000, become 15,000 income for each person. $15,000 is not taxable because tax threshold is 22,000. So if your income is 21,000, there is no tax. If it is more than 22,000, above slot will have 15% tax. Then if you go beyond 42,000, there will be 27% tax. And in a generally for business, just for the business, the tax is 27.5% on the net profit. So it depends on how much you want to show your profit based on your expenses. Because here you can claim all your expenses, and then whatever the net profit comes, you can divide it into all your family members to make it 1/4, 25%, and then maybe it is under the tax threshold. And you can take salary from the business as business expense. So when you come to Australia, we'll make you a meeting with chartered accountant, and they will guide you everything. I will be present myself to explain and assist you, and to understand the both party requirements, and also chartered accountants by law, whatever that they need you to ask. So it should be okay.
All right, I'm not a businessman. Have any category for study of minor child as well as parents migration?
Yes, you can. You definitely can. I can see from your earlier text, I realized that you are not a business person. Actually, 𝗬𝗵𝗶𝗹 requested you to be registered, and I was sending your details to be registered. So I did not know about your background before. That's the only registration we did. Yes, if you want to send your kids for higher study, like school visa or college or university, we process for school and college, but we don't go for university like typical student visa. We help only on business migration, and the business or investor people, who cannot migrate on business visa, they want to send their kids for school visa. We help them, and we develop their business portfolio, and then we apply for business migration. That's what we do. But we definitely can help if you please communicate. One of my will be in today or tomorrow, and we'll make a meeting. We'll organize a meeting, to discuss about your situation, and we'll find a solution. Just to tell that we have 1 minute 45 seconds recording time, and we will take another maybe 5 questions.
Okay.
Even it is over 2 hours. Like in 10 minutes time, we will finish.
All right. What would
you.
be the living cost for 2 kids and 2 adults? 4 persons.
The question says money needs to be in tax file. Of course, the money needs to be genuinely earned. It needs to be legitimate, and you have to show that this money, like some countries they say white money, means it needs to be in your tax file. Anything and everything that you declare the asset, deposit, FDR, everything that is recorded in your tax file will be only considered. What we can do is, for example, you recorded one of the apartment, cheaper price, that we can go for current market valuation, and the market valuation will be higher. Obviously, there's no problem as long as the property is mentioned in your wealth statement, in your tax file, tax return form. So it must be in your tax record, the property or asset. The cash value is as it is. The property will be under current valuation price that we'll do through one of the listed valuer, and